Macheras joins us now live from London to talk more about those results. Hi, Alex. They're only preliminary, but what did you take away from these findings?
Well, it's still early days, as you have said, but the lead investigator highlighted some pretty specific points that will be ultimately the focus of the investigation going forward. That includes, quote, throttle anomalies. Now, the lead investigator today in Indonesia said that there were anomalies with the throttle, which is responsible ultimately for ensuring thrust with the engines, kind of the equivalent to the gas pedal in your car. And so we know that that is definitely going to be one of the major focuses of this investigation. Other considerations, of course, being that the aircraft, which was on the ground for some time due to the coronavirus pandemic, was actually reporting some issues associated with that same throttle control for the left engine. Again, something that investigators will follow and that we will next find more information about in terms of substantially next year when that first year report has been issued. For now, actually, the operation to try to recover the cockpit voice recorder, that part of the black box, that's where the next priority is, because they haven't found it yet. It's still missing, and that's likely going to give them some real answers as to what happened.
Right, that could be a game changer. Because for right now, they've got, they're pointing to certain technical issues. This was a 26-year-old plane, but given what's happened to Boeing, the MAX, the 737 MAX, this has to hurt. I mean, Boeing has to be nervous right now, knowing that if this investigation doesn't somehow exonerate the plane maker, it could hurt the company.
Of course, anytime an aircraft is involved in an accident like this, it's going to be a very difficult time for all stakeholders involved. But specifically, of course, when it's a 737, not to be confused with the 737 MAX, we know that that makes the manufacturer pretty nervous in this scenario. So, of course, they're going to want to be able to rule out things as quickly as possible in order to give assurance to the rest of the industry. On the other hand, a lot of focus lies with the maintenance questions around Indonesia's air travel sector and perhaps the oversight that we know has taken place and contributed to other accidents in the region.
Right. Tell us, how difficult it is for Indonesia's aviation industry in general. That's 3 crashes, fatal crashes, in less than 6 years' time. If you can, speak to the psyche of passengers. Do they tend to forget rather quickly, or will there be a scar here?
It's a great shame that Indonesia suffers one of the worst aviation safety records in the world. That is widely understood within the industry, and the industry tries to do all it can ultimately to elevate the safety standards there, because we do know that it has contributed to accidents and crashes in the past. But socially speaking, the attitudes towards flying in Indonesia, they don't tend to change. We're talking about over 10,000 islands where air travel is a form of public transport, and it's relied upon for not just getting from A to B, but on to C and D as part of commuting or importing things from one island to the other. It's a very normal way to try to ultimately move around the region, around the country. And we know that after Indonesia suffers a major accident, actually passenger confidence isn't knocked after. The demand is right back up there almost immediately, not least because it has to be. Now, does that mean that the sufferings are any less relevant? Of course not. Indonesians are calling on the air travel sector there to be elevated to a higher standard in 2021. And in this period now, we are blessed in the industry as having the safest form of transport on the earth. And for Indonesia, that should be no exception. So we'll see how this investigation plays out. But as I said, the priority now is really trying to find that cockpit voice recorder component.
Right. We'll check in with you definitely when they do. Alex Macheras, thank you so much for being with us on the NewsHour. We appreciate it.